Communications, and we are honored to have Chris Berman with us this afternoon. In October 1979, 1 month after its inception, ESPN hired a little-known 24-year-old sports anchor by the name of Chris Berman. For more than 4 decades, he has become one of America's most respected, popular, and in many ways, the most beloved sportscaster of his era. He is a legend in the industry. He has also been recognized by the Pro Football Hall of Fame, his peers, and countless other organizations for his exceptional contributions to sports broadcasting. With his trademark combination of genuine enthusiasm, knowledge, and wit, as well as rock music, he has come to embody ESPN and its dedication to entertaining and informing sports fans across the country. He is best known for his signature delivery of highlights in every sport, but most notably on NFL Sundays. He has been selected National Sportscaster of the Year 6 times by the members of the National Sportscasters and Sports Writers Association. And in 1989, he became the first cable sportscaster to win National Sportscaster of the Year. Berman received the distinguished Pete Rozelle Radio Television Award from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2010 for his longtime exceptional contributions to radio and television and professional sports. Interviewing Mr. Berman today is Dave Stevens. Dave Stevens is the only legless player in sports history to have played NCAA football, minor league baseball, and minor league baseball. He is a 7-time Emmy-winning sports journalist who is now a motivational speaker and television host. He spent 40 years in broadcasting, including 20 years at ESPN. He is the father of 3 teen boys, and he's now a professional in residence here at Quinnipiac University, where he helps oversee the Ability Media Initiative. Please welcome Chris Berman and Dave Stevens.
With that introduction, I thought God was here himself.
Well, first of all, I didn't know I was that old. Second of all, what happened? We couldn't sell these seats?
I guess, take a look at that, yeah. It's
It's
usually
$2
Bob Euchre, take a look at that, yeah. But thank you guys for being here. I know it's kind of a nasty day, and we're just gonna hear a little bit about this man's career. I mean, he didn't really need that long of an introduction, but Boomer is right here today as an icon, and as a friend of mine, to call in a favor like that, I haven't asked him to do anything like that. He's like, sure, Cat, I'll come do it. We'll film a commercial and we'll hang out for a little bit and talk. So we're just going to rap a little bit about, what he's done in his life and the things that he's been a part of. And Chris, first off, for a lot of these students, maybe they don't realize you came from this state. You're here from a hometown, and you're one of those kids that worked hard to bang on the doors and get where you wanted to get.
Hi, Dave, Cat. I grew up right on the New York, Connecticut line, right near Westchester Airport. So it's all 60 miles from here. So to fast forward, New England, Brown, first job was Westerly, Rhode Island, in a little radio station. Some of the guys who interviewed me and heard this a little earlier today. Second job was a year later, Waterbury, Connecticut radio, a little bigger than Westerly. Not as good of a beach, but then at 24, Channel 30, NBC Hartford, needed a weekend sportscaster, just Saturdays and Sundays, $23 a show, okay? $23, that's Hartford, okay? What an opportunity, they hired me. ESPN was just starting. It was the fall of 1979. I know that's ancient history. This is back with Julius Caesar, right? And they took a shot at me, although I was on TV for 3 months. They put me on the overnight show, which was 2:30 in the morning, although 11:30, say, in San Francisco. We got to do a half an hour on sports every night, which was unheard of at the time. We're driving home and crap like this at 4 in the morning on February 3rd, but it was okay. We're doing what we wanted to do. Not we, I mean, all of us at ESPN. And there are about 70 of us that started there. And to show you, you think ESPN has had, a lot of brain power over the year. I'm still there in my 43rd year. They're not that smart. They haven't got rid of me yet. So I'm 66. I never thought that the job would last that long, but ESPN is it's like if you sneeze, you have a Kleenex, right? If you want a soda, you really want a Coke, right? You dating ourselves, make a copy of that. I'll Xerox it, right?
Or fax it.
You know what I'm saying? I'll have a coffee. I'll have a Starbucks. There's other I'll have Starbucks. Yes, I'm going to watch sports on TV. It's ESPN, right? I need to know what's going on. We're going to turn. And there's so many, there's tens of thousands that helped build it. And it's pretty proud. I mean, it's unusual that you're able to work in one place pretty much your whole life, professional life. And it's right up the road from, mom and dad were an hour away, as it turned out. It didn't have to be here. I mean, I would have gone for it if it was somewhere else, but it's great. And I live 20 minutes from campus here. I know where Wentworth's ice cream is, and I hope it's open. I'm going to hit one on the way back. It's not really an ice cream day, but I'm going to hit one on the way back. So I've had no lunch, so that's great. That's how you lose weight, have an ice cream cone. But in college you can. You guys don't ever gain weight, so it's okay. You'll see. But larger picture, and then fire some more questions, and I'm sure we have many.
Well, there's so many. I mean, I could just throw
Here's the thing.
15,000 things.
I know you guys kind of, ladies, I'd say guys as a colloquial, want to get into our business, otherwise you wouldn't be in this part of the school. You never know. But if in life you're able to do something you really love, the money doesn't matter. Never got into it for the money. It's turned out okay, but that was not the deal.
You own most of Cheshire, though, right?
Well, yeah, well, whatever. The good part. The point is, if you do something you love and you have a chance to do it, this is the long term. It's almost like the long term thing. There comes a time in life that, you try it, and you're 30, you're 32, you're starting a family. I know that's a long way off. Am I still going to beat my head against the wall? But if you don't try it now in your 20s, or maybe something else that might click with you here this year or next year if you're juniors or et cetera.
Well, you didn't start out to be in television, right?
Huh?
You didn't start out.
No, I majored in history. So, but that's not the point. I majored in American history. Like I said before, we have to know who Abe Lincoln is, right? So he's a tall guy. Probably would have been a good basketball player. Probably could have played for the Bobcats here. So if they had a beard rule, maybe not. I'm getting off the beaten path. Give it a shot in your 20s. You'll always wonder the rest of your life. I wonder if I had just. So give it a shot, whatever it is. And I assume in a lot of cases it's journalism or communications, whether it's sports, whether it's in front of the camera, behind the camera. You were behind the scenes with us for decades at ESPN, and you enjoyed it, I assume. So I know that. So give it a shot. I did, and I stepped in it. And if you have a great opportunity, recognize it for what it is. They don't come down the pipe that much. Grab onto it real firm. See where it goes.
Little things that you don't know about this guy. Have any of you ever met somebody who has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
No,
I mean,
I'm not sure.
this guy's got
It's
it.
in front of an Irish bar. But it's
Well,
okay.
there's a lot of liquids that end up on your star that they have to clean up, and I don't think it's.
Well, the dogs have a place to go there. So
But you're this guy from here that worked so hard to get where you wanted to get, and now they call you Hall of Famer. They call you all these accolades, and I know you don't like that because you've just gone out and tried to tell a story. But of all these things, are there? Is the Hall of Fame mean the most? Like, what means the most for all these accolades?
what means the most is walking down the street and have people say, I enjoy what you do. It's better than Hall of Fame is great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They moved the plaque of the Pete Rozelle Award. It was near the bathroom. But they moved it. It's nice. And I'm having fun with it. But actually, it's true. To be able to walk in here and have you folks go, you know what, I like the fastest 3 minutes. Like I connect with you even though we're in a box. You know, TV's still a box. We call it a box now, it's a screen, I get it, a flat screen, but a phone, it's whatever. But that means more than an award, but an award means a lot of people were behind me that helped me. As one of our famous producers way back when, Fred Muzzy, we used to say, I'm sick and tired of making you look good. So there are a lot of people that went behind it, but the point is, it's a connection one-on-one with a lot of people you've never met. And that's really cool. And so when I meet him, it's like, you've been watching me that long in Iowa? Really? That's very cool. I remember about 20 years ago, a fellow stopped me and he said, do you understand? I'm in the military. Thank you for what you do, which is really okay. I said, yeah, I still am. Where are you based? Antarctica. So we were bringing him joy in Antarctica just because we were doing football highlights. And there you go.
Did he have customized mucklucks or
No, he had mucklucks. Well, I met him in Hawaii, so he didn't have them then. I would have worried about him then. I understood why he took vacation there if you were in Antarctica, right?
And early in your career, I mean, if you've ever seen the catch by Dwight Clark, Joe Montana, you're in the end zone getting ready, you're thinking you're going to end the game one way and suddenly this changes. Take us back to that moment.
Well, I know that Joe Montana, the game happened 40 years ago, and to most of you, it's Joe Montana might as well be Jim Thorpe. I mean, he played a long time ago. But I was young, I was 26. One of our biggest, have that assignment to be in Candlestick Park to play the Cowboys. Great catch, which in history borne out that the Niners then won 5 Super Bowls in 15 years. It kind of was the tough game for the Patriots. Kind of started them. Didn't know it at the time. But it was a monumental play. And so now you're running out on the field. And back then, the camera, you guys ran the cameras today just now, pretty heavy, and the deck was 25 pounds, and the cord was, it was heavy. You needed an offensive lineman to be a cameraman. The Bruce is the exception. But you go out in the field and you got to do a stand-up. Well, here come the fans. We can't go up before the game's over because they'll haul you off, right? So 3, 2, roll it. You got one shot to get it right. It's just like, I guess, I don't want to compare myself to a quarterback. It's like Montana had one shot to make that pass. You have one shot, 25 seconds. So what you're seeing is, if that didn't work, I would have had nothing because we were overrun. So I guess as a youngster, I delivered under pressure. I don't know about now, but that's the exhilaration of being in the moment. It's what sports does for all of us, Dave.
And if you Google it, it does exist. It's great to see. And you've been a part of so many memories. Cal Ripken Jr., we've talked about how magical that night was. But I want to bring it close to a little more current, because you've worked with him quite a few times. You've gotten Tom Brady to joke around and goof around, and talk about what that relationship was like, because it really was cool to watch that blossom and to continue for 22 years.
Well, it's amazing. So these guys, all you folks in here, don't even know that football was played before Tom Brady was in the NFL, right? Like, that's kind of, as he was retired, that hit me this last week. Like, if you're under 30, you don't even remember football without Tom Brady. He's been that great that long. The one thing I would say about Tom is like I said, I got to know him that for his second year, 01, where he played and won the Super Bowl. He stayed earnest. He stayed at 22 and 23 like he is at 40 and 42. I want to do the best. I want to have my teammates be the best. I know it sounds like a storybook and it's too nice a story, but interviewing him through the years, I don't know about every year, but COVID last 2 not, but we've talked on the phone. He stayed true to his school, if you will, and it's hard to do that over 20 years. It's hard to do that. And he threw the most passes of anybody this year. He's 44 years old. He threw like 800 passes. including the playoffs. Like, are you kidding? So he still wanted to be great, and he wasn't worried about, okay, what are we doing this week? Who are we playing this week? They never wavered. I don't know how it didn't. So we've all been graced to see someone that dedicated, let alone that successful. So he played 22 years. He played in 10 Super Bowls. That's half of them. You got, I mean, some of the greatest players of all time never played in a Super Bowl, right? Never played in one, let alone never won one. So pick your favorite player, and a lot of them never got in there. So we're lucky to see him, whether you're a Patriot fan or not, or Bucks. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Now, most of the people here don't know what ESPN was like in its heyday. It's kind of like when in the old days you had, CBS, NBC, ABC, and there was nothing else. And when ESPN started in '79, they had nothing to compare to, and they really invented it. And I'm wondering, over the years, as you've watched it evolve, de-evolve, and now where everybody gets everything on their cell phones, is it good? Is it bad? Like, what are the sports fans missing out because they don't have the ESPN like they used to have?
Well, I still think hope we provide what everyone needs, and even though there's all sorts of ways to get it, but we're like putting the flag in the North Pole, we're the first ones on the map. It didn't make us necessarily the best. Don't ever think as you're first, you're the best. That would be the first mistake you'd make. But we welcome competition. They're our friends. I mean, we really don't wish them ill. CNN used to do a lot of sports in the 80s, and we'd run out of a battery, and they'd run out of a tape. Shh, don't tell them back at headquarters, here you go. I mean, it was respect. But I know nobody understands this, and I don't know if you've even studied it. 1979, early 80s, cable TV may not have made it. I know now cable TV's like this way now, right? It took 35 years. It was like this, and now it's, right? I mean, you guys, you record, cut, right? I mean, you can watch it wherever the hell you want, but we're still providing. And so back then, we used to get, if you live in Connecticut, you get 3, 8, and 30. I think 20 was a UHF in Waterbury. You have 4 channels. Why am I going to pay $20 to get 36 channels? Whoa, 36 channels. We had a little box we had to attach. 36 channels. Why am I going to pay $20 for that? I got to go to work. I got to eat. I got to go to sleep. I can't watch it all the time. Well, I mean, that's what our world was when we started. So a good idea is a good idea. We just didn't know cable TV would be like this, and we were in 1979, CNN was 1980, MTV when they really were really good. They're not really now, are they? Right? MTV, they should be. Jesus, it's music, let's go. But they were great. Music videos in the 80s, in the 90s, it's easy. What was the first one? Video killed the radio star. Right, whoever the hell that was. That's trivia too, but what cable TV provided was, if you're traveling to Portland, Oregon, and you're from here, it's like your local station, your favorite station. You're watching it there, even though you're watching it here. It was pretty cool as time went on, then we went from 36 channels to 100. How many we got now? 10,000?
Depends. Everything's on the internet. You can put on crap shows like this on
Yeah,
the
they
internet.
put your station here, that's out there, right? Can I watch that in Seattle? I mean, I can watch it, right? See, to me, that's amazing to me. So, not that the technology is amazing, just like, really? I can watch my kid at Quinnipiac on TV? Geez, do I want to? But if you're still the best at it, or aspiring to be, we're still providing a service, I think, right? You guys watch, a lot of you watch ESPN every now and then, right? I hope so. Shit, otherwise I'm out of a job, so.
So, Boomer, as we kind of wind down this section of it, I've been blessed to have you in my life for 27 years. And, I was one of the first disabled people ever to be hired at ESPN. I wore artificial legs in those days, and where people were apprehensive, they didn't know how to treat somebody, but this man right here took me under his wing. He gave me a nickname, which was the epitome of anybody's career at that point. And we've been friends ever since. And I just was wondering, we always kind of touch on this, like, the difference now in the world and what it was like to, you treated me normally and you said I didn't look at you any other way, and we talked about things behind the scenes, but, still to take me under my wing like you did and create this, we don't have to hug or kiss or anything, but, it meant a lot to me, and I always wanted that perspective of the outside world, kind of being that legless Jackie Robinson at ESPN, without belittling it, but again, you helped me to develop my career. You relied on me to help get you information and do things that help, raise you up. So I just was wondering, without getting all wishy and everything, like what was that like to work with somebody with a disability when you haven't really been around?
Well, first of all, I fooled you too. You think I'm a good guy. Second of all, could you do your job? Were you good at it? Were you enthusiastic about it? Did you deliver and then some? That's shouldn't that have hindered you from doing that? Were you a good guy to hang around out of the building?
Did my
Yeah, but isn't that what we all like? You happen to be this. The world. That's part of what the world is today. Like, boy, we better accept every kind. Are you a good person? Okay, now we can advance the ball.
But did my humor shock you? Because I like to make fun of not having legs.
It sure
Alligator
did. Making fun of your own, I'm glad you were making those jokes and not somebody else. I would have slumped them. But yeah. But it was a way of you letting us I'm okay with it. I don't know what it's like to live we're very fortunate. It makes you go out of here and realize we're pretty fortunate in things, and I'm sure this is obvious, but we all should realize how fortunate we are. You guys are in a really good school. This thing compared to even 20 years ago, let alone 40, is unbelievable. Quinnipiac College, right? Like the Braves. It was good, but it isn't this. You got a great opportunity here, and I'm veering off on it, but and you've met all sorts of people from different places, I hope. I know most are Northeast, I get it, but some well-to-do families, some not. Some white, black, yellow, I don't have to go on and on. But my message in that, and I didn't expect to go here with this, that was the greatest thing that I found about sports in my 42 years, was that it brings all different sorts of people. Hey, did you see the Chiefs-Bills game last week? Well, this guy's a millionaire. This woman shining shoes. I'm just walking to an airport. But we can have a conversation, not because I'm Chris Berman, because I'm a football fan. I don't know where you're from. You don't know where I'm from. You're just saying we could have the same conversation. What a good thing. Sport. That's my revelation in my years of covering sports. Like, this brings complete strangers together for an idle 5 minute, and they can be just as intelligent, if not more so, than you. So why wouldn't you want to be in a business like that?
Last question for me. Are you looking to make that 45th anniversary, 50th anniversary? What's Chris Berman going to do in the next few years? You get to enjoy a little bit of what you've earned.
I'm semi-retired now, and I do my football on Sundays. You see me on Mondays, and then once the Super Bowl's over, you won't see me for a while. But it's okay. Like I did it. I'm not soured on it. Age is a number. I didn't think I'd be doing it past 65. I'm supposed to do it one more year next year, but I think I'll do a couple more after that if they'll have me. And then I'll be 70, and then I don't know. I'm not going to go into skydiving, but and I can play enough golf, and I don't know that I'm ever going to. I got to be old to beat my age, but that'll be a while. So because it's good for the mind, Dave. It's good for and it allows you to keep your contacts and your friendships. The football coaches now that have been my friends forever. I'm not just calling to say, hey, how are you? I'm preparing for Sunday like I always was. And I hope to do it for a few more years. After that, we'll see.
And I miss those Chargers and Bills calls that I would take on Sunday morning before NFL camp.
Right, there you go.
Before we start taking questions, and all these guys have different various things that they want to do in life, What's your advice for their careers? I mean, you got to the epitome of everything, so how'd you get there?
Well, part of it I already gave is to go for it. And it may not be I'm on the air. Like you, again, I'm making this up. You're a sophomore, all of a sudden you get into school play and you love it. And now you're in the school play a couple more times. Or you're doing the lighting for a school play. Ooh, this is really interesting. I don't think you know every day. As a freshman, I thought I wanted to do this for a living. But you may see something if you've got a couple years left here that, oh, this drama, I want to do that. And just bringing that up as something. Or I want to take my musical ability farther. Again, it's not lucrative, but well, I'd like to play what I'm playing here and do that and move on with it. It may not be, okay, I'm on TV and I want to do sports. But go for it. Again, you're in a unique situation. It's not family. You're not have to, there's lots of things that life gets better, but more complicated. And so you'll just wonder later, if I had really given it a go in drama, would I really have been rewarded by even 10 years of behind the scenes on Broadway before I had to do something else? Do it. Don't, and while you're here, and I gave this advice to a couple of the guys that interviewed me, longtime Providence sportscaster. And again, I hadn't thought of it until I was asked by today. Told me when I was interviewing senior year, he gave me this advice. In interviewing for anything, don't be afraid to be a little bit pushy. Don't be a pain in the ass. Only you can draw that line. You know, for different people, it's a different, but I think you know them. Pushy, now I know who you are. You're interested in working with me or getting into this business or something. If you're a pain in the ass, I want no part of it. Figure it out. It's great advice, and I never forgot it. I hope I wasn't too much of it. I guess I wasn't a pain in the ass to ESPN, thank God. So,
well, thanks again for joining us. We're going to take a few questions. If you guys have it ready, just say your name, stand up.
If you want to ask a question, just come to the mic. They need to be turned on, so you go over there and turn on the mic. I know you have a question.
There we go.
yeah, there we go. Open mic. I love it. The Rangers.
You did the figure thing, so that means you're being serious.
Shout your name, what you're trying to
Name, rank,
do, and
serial
your
number.
question.
My name is like how will I put you?
Good.
Just name and major.
Sounds good. My name is Matthew Huggo. I'm a film, television, and media arts major.
I can't hear.
Media arts major, bark out your question.
What drives you?
What drives you?
It's fun. Okay. I'm genuinely interested in why somebody or why a team won and why a team lost even after all these years. And I'm going to share it with you, the viewer, or the, you know. It sounds trite, but I'm actually interested. Like, what the hell happened to the Chiefs? Like, what? They became the Jets, you know, for a half. Like, what are they doing? How did they come? I don't know. What did Cincinnati do? What did the Chiefs not do? Just to give an example. I'm still intrigued by this. It doesn't have to be a football playoff game either. It can be, not saying tiddlywinks, but I mean, early in my career, I did some interesting sports. I was interested to see who won, who lost, and why. I'm still interested in it. I don't know why. Maybe I never grew up. It's okay.
All right, let's go to this side.
Just kind of a lighthearted one, but where did you find all your clips and all the things you say on highlight reels? Like, that just come to you randomly, or that take testing, trial and error?
Well, that's a good question. Most of them just come. I mean, it's not like, all right, if I see a name way back when nickname, here's a box score in the 80s, 90s. I see the last name, I look at it for 15 seconds and a nickname comes or it doesn't. I don't. But if you do it to have a shtick, not going to work. That's just, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. And you know, some of them are, you know, are the sound effects, but it's, you know, the whoop, that's Barry Sanders. If you ever watch film of him, watch him swivel on his ankles. That's where whoop started. The Raiders is from an ode to Al Davis. He and I got along pretty well, but he was the Raiders. And so that's really him. So some of them are born in a little ode to them. Some are just descriptive, or like if a bad team, like, okay, the Cincinnati Bengals are in the Super Bowl. Bengals? You know, like, but you get what I mean, right? Anything that cuts the barrier to bring more people in is a good thing. But if you plan to do a bunch of that to be famous, not going to work. It happened organically, most of it. That's a good question.
Did you ever get players mad at you that they didn't like
Not
their
often.
nicknames or they wanted
Oh,
their
they
nickname
didn't?
changed?
Yeah, back then, Kevin Bass was a baseball player and was annoyed that I called him largemouth Bass. He said, it makes me sound like a complainer. He was a good guy. And I said, how's smallmouth Bass? He goes, good. So I solved that one really quickly. That was a good one.
All right, let's go back over here.
Hey Chris, what's going on? My name is Chase Resky. I'm a communication media studies major. I think your whole career you really learned how to adapt, whether it was
That's right for me here.
and doing, you know, back, and all that stuff, and obviously Monday Night Football. I want to take you back to 2003, 2004. You did the Stanley Cup Finals. It was Calgary versus Tampa Bay. I just want to know, you know, you got guys like Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, some of the legends in broadcasting in terms of hockey. What did they do to, you know, help you adapt to a sport that you really never have done in your, I guess, 25 careers since you led up to that point in 2003?
Well, you mean the fact that I was on the Stanley Cup final studio team is really John Saunders a lot in the studio, and Barry Melrose are my friends, Steve Levy. But I always followed hockey since I was 7. So just because, see, same thing. Well, let's say somebody here calls the basketball games, or you do, right? Let's just say. And then, heaven forbid, you're talking about hockey. Well, no, you may like hockey more. I mean, and they all knew that. Like, hockey at 7, 8. I was at the I'm talking old Madison Square Garden, which they tore down in 67, 68. So I went to about 10 games there. That dates me. I saw a playoff game there, and the Rangers were never in it, but they were in like 1 year, and I went to one. So my point is, it wasn't, I don't know the players, but genuine enthusiasm genuine, is discernible to the viewers. But just don't try to talk so much that I don't mean how fast. Don't try to prove in one sentence, so I really am a hockey fan. Well, now, what are you doing? So they helped, but they welcomed me. Just like I would welcome anyone to football who I know is a football fan, but boy, they're normally a hockey guy. You know? Anytime we pigeonhole somebody, it's a dangerous thing. Oh, he or she shouldn't do that. Why not? Just because you haven't done it. At 16, you know, he shouldn't drive a car. Well, we haven't done it yet, but, you know, we've got to do it. I mean, that's maybe not the right example, but I love hockey. Playoff hockey is pretty good.
Are you a Ranger fan?
Huh?
Are you a Ranger fan?
No. Montreal.
Okay.
I mean, the Rangers annoyed me enough that they kept screwing up that was enough. But that's back then.
You said your favorite.
No, I mean, Montreal Canadiens.
You said your favorite hockey nickname was Mr. Hockey.
Oh.
Months ago,
Hockey's a good one.
so hockey's great.
All right, over to this side. Keep them quick and let's keep
I
them
don't
moving.
even hear great here anymore.
Bark them out.
My name is Jack Spiegel, I'm a freshman journalism major. My question is, you talked a lot about just going for it. Is there something in your life that you wish you went for?
What's the biggest thing in your life that you went for? That you say to go for it. So the question is there something you didn't think you could do and then you went for it and that was a success?
Well, professionally, probably, when I was your age, gee, can I be on TV by 25? Which I thought was 30% attainable. That's pretty lofty. Now, that's a long time ago, but I'm trying to put it in your shoes where you guys are now. I mean, some goal you might have had at 40. That was one. I wanted to pie in the sky be, well, at the time, Brent Musburger, who was great in the NFL. That was the best pregame show in the NFL, and I'm fortunate to have done that. I don't know that I'm the best, I don't mean that. Do the job. Boy, I love to announce the San Francisco Giants. That's my baseball team. Even though I grew up here, Willie Mays was pretty good. And I was a Willie Mays fan at 7, so I've stayed at 66, a Giant fan. And I got to do some West Coast baseball like later on in my career. So you just never know. I mean, there are many goals that I had that I didn't attain, but to go for it, meaning I actually can do this. Well, you're not going to do it tomorrow. You're not going to do it, but you're working your way up to, if the opportunity comes a little later in your career, if you're doing what I'm doing, or if you're in a play, or if you're playing in music, you're really ready. I wasn't ready. I thought, I was pretty good 2:30 in the morning at 25 years old. Not really. I mean, I hope those tapes are burnt. But all that goes into developing your style, and you go, "Ooh, that's a little much." Reel back on that a little. Oh, that was pretty good. You take and you borrow and you figure it out. But to have goals more or less than 50% attainable is a good thing, whatever that may be. If that makes sense.
All right, let's pop back over here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
good.
I don't need this mic.
Well, you're one of them, not like me.
My name is Matthew Trozic, and I am a senior journalism major. And Mr. Berman, my question for you is, you talked about how you were a history major coming out of college, and now you are one of the most iconic sportscasters. What was the moment when you realized that you're like, you kind of veered away from the history and went more into the broadcasting aspect?
Well, to be honest with you, thank you for that. That was good, and you got a good voice. I majored in history, but I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. So the first week at Brown, freshman year, I went up to the radio station, which was a 50,000 watt, real WBRU, really good. Now, in the 70s, that was a big deal, having a radio station like that on campus. So I got involved myself. I went up there, and this is what I did. I wasn't into sports. I didn't call the games the freshman year, etc. So it wasn't a left-hand turn from history in my case, but I also thought I should know some other stuff. So even though if you're doing this, branch out while you're here. Take a few courses that are kind of interesting, even though you're not doing it for a career. Not the question you asked, but I was kind of halfway there when you were finishing. What's interesting to me now, I studied eras in history. Well, cable TV era, we were like the Revolutionary War guys, and women. I've seen the whole thing. I don't know everything, but I'm now an expert on an era. It's 42 years, but I mean, we study Roman Empire or whatever, or let alone the U.S. history in 200 plus years, but I still look at it, hey, I'm a history major, and I kind of enjoy, my goodness, I actually can talk about the cable era, even if it's going, not south, but, not as much. That'll be a while till it's not still really vital anyway. And I hope to be around then to still, my God, you're interviewing someone that participated in the Battle of Lexington and Concord. So I think that's actually pretty cool. So I'm still doing both. Good question.
All right, back to this side.
Hi, Chris. My name's
What do we got? Good. That's in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, I know. Are you from there?
No, I'm from.
Yeah, they're cool, right?
Yeah, really sick jerseys.
They're good. They're a good team.
I could care less about about the team, I just like the jersey.
It's a cool jersey, all right, that's good.
My question is, obviously your big sport is football and broadcast, but you mentioned also broadcasting baseball. There's broadcasters like Vince Scully, Joe Buck, that have made the transition, or that can broadcast both football and baseball.
Mhm.
So I want to ask you for your advice for broadcasting baseball and making the listener experience enjoyable.
The question was, when you broadcast, I didn't hear all of it, I think I know where you're going.
How do you do both sports? How do you learn to be
Well-
crossover?
Well, first of all, I mean, if you were announcing games, that's a lot. I did about 400 baseball games. Doesn't make me good at it, but I used to do 25 or 30 a year for about 10, 15 years. It's a different pace. Like, so what Joe does, Joe's outstanding. Baseball is it's every day, it's conversational, but you learn it by doing it. Like, let's say you're doing Quinnipiac baseball games. I did Brown baseball. Nobody was listening, but I did it. I did like 8 a year. I shouldn't say it. We might have had a 6-pack while we were doing the game, but we were doing the game. But 18 legal, okay? 18 was legal then, all right? So it's all cool. I'm kidding. I'm talking to college kids. Why not? So, but it wasn't the 6 people that were listening. Even from them, this is different than a football. All of a sudden, there's not a lot, there's a huddle, and then everything happens in 10 seconds, right? Everybody. Of course, baseball, then there's 2 minutes between action, and now there's a ground ball to short that goes to the guy's legs, and 3 people score, and the throw goes onto the backstop, and now all of a sudden you got to call it like a football game and then calm down. So it all is experience. Doesn't make you great at all of them, but each one is different. Hockey's the hardest, by the way. I did a couple in college. I was the basketball announcer, but I traded one weekend with the hockey guy. We did it every year. He did 2 basketball, I did 2 hockey. They change on the fly, and it's, oh my God, now who's on the ice, Hockey's the hardest. Basketball's the easiest. It's a finite amount of time. Nobody's wearing a jersey. They're wearing a jersey, you see their face. You can identify them by the way they look, not the number. I'm not saying that means everyone can be a great basketball announcer because you have to know the game, but each one is different. Basketball's the easiest. I think hockey's the hardest. And there are other sports too. I did darts once, but that's another discussion, another time. It was interesting, but I don't think I want to do that. I can tell you how to do that later. It's more the rhythm of the game.
We got to get you out of here soon. So let's go with one more question. We'll wrap it up. Sorry, guys. But again, thank you guys for being here. So let's go with our big final question of the day. Make it good.
Hi, Chris. Can you hear me? I'm a journalism major. I'm being held roughly. And my question to you is, where do you see the sports media industry in 10 years?
10 years from now, where's the sports media going to be?
That's a good question because I know I am a Swami, but could we have predicted 40 years ago the cable would do this? No. Well, I want to bury that one. 10 years from now, because that's like close. Other than, and we've already seen this, cameras being like everywhere, which I don't think is all a great thing, but it is.
You mean like this?
Oh, yeah, like that. Cameras, So ESPN through the years, I'm not evading the question because I'm not. Because I remember our 20th anniversary. What do you think will be 20 years from now? We already know that cable 10 years from now won't be, but there'll still be a need for it because you're still producing it, and how you get it doesn't have to be cable TV, but you'll still have an ESPN and CNN and 8 million channels. It's a good stumper because if we knew that answer, we'd invest in it right now, right? One thing our company did, and I'm not trying to carry the flag, we got ahead of things by 5 to 8 years, some which didn't happen. HD TV, It's great, right, for watching sports and a lot of things. Was it 10 years old? 10, 12, is it 10?
Yeah.
Not much more.
In every TV.
But we were like 5 years ahead to be ready for this. We were ready for the fourth attempt at 3D TV. Well, they had those glasses in the 50s, that didn't work. They tried it again in the 70s, that didn't work. We were ready in case. We had like a whole setup, cameras, and then, well, that didn't work. I mean, 20 years from now, we're gonna try it again. So don't invest in that necessarily, though it's interesting. I don't know. You guys have a better imagination for it than I do. What do you think will be pretty cool if in 10 years TV or, well, not so much radio, but I mean, everything's internet now. Give me one. What do you hope to see? That's a better question.
Maybe based off like Facebook's recent like switch, maybe something with like VR, the metaverse, something where you're kind of at the stadium, but you're not really at the stadium.
The fan experience is going to change a ton. Hopefully most for the better. It won't all be for the better. There's still some about though, like you're going to be watching it and fan. Don't you want that hot dog? I mean, come on, right? You gotta have I mean, of course, they'll cost $50 by then, right? But don't you want the hot dog? Like that's because of the proliferation of all the games. See, even like the NFL. One thing I'm worried about, which is not the question you asked. So the NFL season in 2 years is going to be another week. They haven't set it, but it is. Super Bowl is going to be Washington's birthday, or that weekend. Point is, there'll be 3 regular season games in January, and you're a fan of a team that's cold weather that stinks, and you had that fun snow game in the middle of December. Hey, we went with Dad, and we had friends, and we had there, we were there. It was freezing, but it was great. I'd do it 2 more times, and your team is 4-13. But the game's on TV, so we don't care that nobody's in the stands. I'm worried about that. But that's not the question you asked. I'm worried about a lot of things, but I'm not an old man barking at the moon, so don't worry about it. You guys, listen, you have a wonderful experience here at this school. I'm so impressed with where it's come, even from the first time I came on campus. And Dave and Bruce are the ones that kind of got me here. On short term, we ended up doing something today in the morning, and hey, can you hang with the students? Absolutely. And
what a favor. Now I got to put you on the spot real quick. Swami pick for the game?
I'm going with Buffalo. They must be pissed. So
Yeah.
they did all. I know they are. I'm very close with them. They did all that. Look, 40 years from now, you'll still be saying that was the greatest playoff game of all time. I mean, it's up there. I don't have many. There's one 40 years ago that I'm not going to bore you with. You can look it up, San Diego at Miami. But that's 40 years ago. And by the way, then San Diego won that game, but lost the next week to Cincinnati. So Kansas City won that game against Buffalo, but lost the next week to Cincinnati. Now the Bengals haven't done much in between those 40 years. So I haven't wrapped my arms around the Super Bowl yet. I'm not dodging it. But with the way the playoffs have gone, other than the opening round, which stunk, it's going to be a 3-point game. So the Rams are favored by 4.5. So I'm leaning to the Bengals. Nice story. But I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. He kept his mouth shut and playing for Detroit. And that's playing for forget it. So he's in the Super Bowl, a long-time Lions, and the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. And somebody once said that's why they play the games. So thanks for having me here at campus.
Guys, you don't realize it's been a long day. He did this for me. I know we've gone long, but wow, you guys are
Take it out of
this.
this.
Your parents are going to be mad that they didn't get to be a part of this. They're going to try to pick your brain and, just appreciate Chris Berman being here today. So give him one more round of applause.
Chris and Dave, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Fun to be on campus. It's a long commute, 20 minutes. Great. Don't move. Don't move anything. I like coming back here. All the guys that interviewed me and the ladies, thanks for being so prepared and the questions. And appreciate you coming out. Get a great opportunity. College doesn't get any better than this. It does, but it doesn't. Okay. So grab onto what you can here. And that includes a couple of courses that are different. That includes getting to know people.
And they named their mascot after you, so I mean, what better could that be, right?
Huh?
Boomer? Boomer the mascot? Boomer?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, okay. I don't know that they quite did that.
Copyright infringement.
I'll just say this, it's a different thing. But this fall, we had I didn't play on the team. Truth and be truthful, I didn't play football at Brown. I announced it in a room with 3 other players, and I may as well have been on the team, but I didn't play. So this fall, we had our 45th anniversary of the first Ivy League championship football team in the history of Brown, 1976. And we don't have to see each other, maybe not in 45 years, but 5 years, 10. And we're pretty tight. I mean, some have passed on, some haven't done. There's like 25 of us that went back, and it's 45 years ago. It's a long time, and my point is there can be some friendships made here that then you drop a little bit because, your family or your kid, 2 years old, has health problem, all this, don't worry about that now. But the friendships, they're grounded here. This happened to be a football thing, but I was amazed at how tight we were, having not seen a lot of these guys in a long time. So keep that in mind and get to know as many folks as you can while you're here, because they may be your best friends 30 years from now.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it. Before you put that on.
Well, it was fun. It was fun. Huh?
Yeah, Dave, you want to get a quick picture? Sure.
You're good, good man here.
Thank you, Will.
Ask for your phone number.
There you go. Sure. We'll go behind you, Dave. Stay right there. We'll stay right there. Stay right there.
Well, my Hall of Fame and other years.
All righty. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thanks,
There
Will.
we go. No problem.
Good job, Will.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah.
Hey, Boom, can I get a quick question?
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Bills fan. I've watched.
Are you from up there?
Oh, my dad was.
Well, I mean,
So I've watched a bunch of like the NFL prime time TV from the 90s.
oh, it's great.
So that's kind of how it went. How did you,
I got a film.
no one circles the wagon.
When I was back in the day, there was no specific game. It just, there wasn't. They came back from, Long Island, and they had stuff.
I was in Florida for 3 weeks this month, so
Everyone.
I was down
Well, I love it. I love it.
Sports Interactive.
Yeah, you've done a lot for the fan
They're the most loyal professionals.
We
The fact that I was like
to wind things down.
people where I didn't go with me,
So
the friendship that I have with Buffalo.
we did 1,065
All I did was
podcasts
say they were
and about 200 YouTube segments.
and they welcomed me.
It's all still up there. We didn't announce that we were closing our operations.
Those people are phenomenal.
They're the best.
All sudden,
They asked
after
them
the fact, we can get the band back together pretty quick. So,
The wild to me.
I got,
There you go. Circle the wild.
did you know,
Good luck, my man.
you knew Adam Stango, right?
Yeah.
We're trying.
He hooked me up with the bosses down there in Fort Lauderdale, so I had a nice meeting with them. So we'll see what happens.
I just was, I didn't like hearing about that.
What's that?
I said I didn't like hearing about that you're not doing it anymore.
Very quickly, still matters.
It is what it is. Eventually, you gotta take no for an answer. After 3 years of trying, it's like, hey.
Well, I mean, I get it, I get it.